welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today, even though the Vikings were about as pleasureful as they just weren't. No, they were just awful. No, they just sucked. The Vikings, they played on Thursday night, and they went to Los Angeles SoFi, and it was kind of similar to what it was in the postseason last year and earlier in the regular season. And it was kind of like most of the time, no Darisaw too, but we'll get to that later. The Vikings lost 37-10 on Thursday night to the Los Angeles Chargers. Safe to say I think we're all ready for the McCarthy era, even though I don't think Carson Wentz was the greatest of our problems in this one. He wasn't much help, but I don't know. He was kind of already playing hurt, which is great. McCarthy would have been playing hurt as well. He was the number 3 emergency guy, basically. Max Brosmer was the backup. He did get some action, but way later than he probably should have. I'm not sure what Kevin O'Connell's motives are in this one. Not at all. I'm kind of confused by his motives, wondering, are you just trying to torture Carson Wentz? Are you afraid of Brosmer being in over his head? Are you afraid of Brosmer possibly getting hurt and you have to put in like a wide receiver in at quarterback? Or you're just afraid, oh gosh, you might have to put McCarthy in. Oh my God, you can't put McCarthy in because, maybe it's too early to put him back in. I don't understand 90% of what's going on here lately. I'm not really sure. Not really sure why we never run the ball. Though, of course, in this game, the Vikings were playing from behind pretty much from the get-go because they were terrible pretty much the entire game, and the defense sucked, which you'll hear about in my video. On YouTube, it's Purple Mafia Show, and the Dodgers just evened up the World Series with Toronto after Toronto throttled the crap out of them in Game 1. Loved that. F the Dodgers. But unfortunately, Game 2... They win, and I don't know. I'm sick of looking at all these front-running a-holes. God, I used to be on the Braves. I used to be on the Padres. I used to be on the Red Sox. Bleep you guys. You're all a bunch of front-runners. Stop cheering for this team. Anybody out there that is, just stop, please. Unless you're from Los Angeles, pretty much, which is a front-running place. Los Angeles Chargers. The uniforms, they looked a lot like the San Diego Chargers in the 90s when Stan Humphries was quarterback. Not that he was so great, because you look him up, his numbers were pretty weak. Definitely not the main reason why that Chargers team got to the Super Bowl. Much more like a Natron Means, Junior Seau, guys like that, combination of running game and defense, which is kind of what a lot of the early half of the 90s was like. And they met their doom playing against the 49ers in that Super Bowl. Clearly, San Francisco was the best team in the NFL back in '94. But it was kind of cool having that memory lane look. But yeah, that was the San Diego Chargers, you sons of biscuits. The main difference with the Chargers, though, is they actually had the numbers on their helmets, which is what they did not have in '94, from my memory. At least I'm pretty darn sure. But it was kind of cool to have that memory lane look to them, I suppose. Though in a lot of ways, kind of some of that paler colored stuff was around way, way, way back. They had kind of like a different look, but they were San Diego back then too. So whatever. Anyhow, let's stop talking about memory lane, even though I love it. One last thing. It's funny, even the video games would just openly say the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. Yep, that was the comment on the 49ers on that game when it would go to different teams. This team is good at passing, this team is good at defense, or whatever. Yeah, they were back then. That was a great, great, great team, and I had the pleasure of actually seeing them play, at least for a quarter, because it was the final regular season game back in the good old '94. Vikings and 49ers. Steve Young, Jerry Rice. Yeah, I got to see them. It's the first NFL game I ever go to in person. So, anyhow, off of that, God, I dragged that out way too long. Carson Wentz, 15 of 27, 144 yards, sacked 5 times, 1 interception that was awful, just a terrible play. Did get a touchdown extremely late, which finally got the Vikings at double-digit scoring range, quarterback rating of 67.5. But again, was Carson Wentz the least of our problems? No, Justin Jefferson is the least of our problems. He actually was pretty good in the game with 7 catches, 74 yards, but unfortunately no touchdowns. But at the same time, Carson Wentz, of the quote unquote problems in this game, was not the main reason the Vikings lost. The defense sucks. It absolutely sucks. The general manager needs some. He has some explaining to do because, well, and this has been talked about on other shows, but I've got to reiterate it because it's true, and we're all seeing it. So it's not like I'm parroting what other shows are saying, like Purple Daily or whatever, or Paul Allen or whoever. There's obviously citing my sources, right? No, I don't. They're not my sources. Just saying that they've mentioned similar things. Is that we're just basically masking bad drafting with through free agency. It worked great last year. This year, well, wow, look at this guy. We got look at this defensive line. Who's gonna get through? Who's gonna score on the Vikings with this defensive line? Holy crap! Yeah, they suck. They haven't done anything. They've done absolutely nothing. They're terrible disappointments. This offensive line is a brick wall. J.J. McCarthy's going to be protected forever. Yeah, he looked really protected against the Falcons, didn't he? And, Darisaw just simply can't stay healthy. He's becoming another, God knows, I don't know, I knock on wood, Jake Long. Okay, I better watch that. But, well, one quarter against the Chargers. Thank you very much. That was terrific. I know we're being careful, but like I said in the video, a couple days ago when I released it, that was the immediate reaction at the time. If he's not healthy, why is he playing? That's the question. Or if he is healthy, why isn't he playing? What's the story here with Christian Darisaw? As for Ryan Kelly, well, he had all this injury history already, and apparently the Colts don't give a rat's ass about Ryan Kelly or Will Fries, who's been a bit of a bust as well, and we're on the hook for his contract till God knows when. When it comes to Will Fries, Ryan Kelly's just a one-year thing. Like, okay, whatever. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, we can't say great because if he doesn't work out, we're bleeped. Just like every other damn time a center goes down for the Minnesota Vikings historically. The starting center goes down, it's like game over practically. That's what it feels like. It's like the quarterback's just going to get rushed and rushed and rushed and rushed and rushed. And if the left tackle's down, the quarterback's going to get rushed and rushed and rushed. You know what I mean? And then the right tackle. Now he can't stay healthy anymore. Obviously, he had what did he have? Achilles a few years ago. This year he's coming back from the MCL, but he's still out. Oh, for heaven's sake. It's just, like, what can you say? Donovan Jackson's pretty much being kind of left, like getting hung out to dry because he's playing with backups. And gone are the days of backup linemen that were good. Because backup linemen used to exist that were good. Backup linemen that were good used to exist, if I could say that correctly. They did. I brought this up like 3 or 4 times already this year, so I'm parroting myself. If that's okay with you, because the other shows don't mention these older players that used to save this team in times of need. And boy, when they got to start, they were really good, and they ended up signing elsewhere because they did deserve to start. Like Everett Lindsey was kind of like the classic like utility backup lineman who was really good. He actually wasn't like a major starter where somewhere else. Where Chris Lewinsky did become that. Chris Lewinsky was the unfortunate replacement for Corey Stringer upon his untimely death, and he's a really damn good left tackle. Actually, Chris Lewinsky was awesome. I do believe he left for I forget if he left for the Giants or who it was. But he was a wonderful tackle who happened to be a backup at the time of maybe the greatest need of all time, because when something like that happens to a player, you're the starter no matter what now, because they're not coming back. Yeah, that's kind of the situation there. No humor intended with that. It's the most harsh reality there is. Like, it doesn't get harsher than that. It sends chills down your spine just thinking about it. Like, yeah, you're the starter, I guess. Ouch. But then he did really well. He did. Him being Chris Lewinsky. Gone are those days, it seems like. Here comes, make way for, Rouse. Make way for, who's this other guy who doesn't, I don't even know anymore. I'm losing track of some of these backup linemen. They're just disappointing, and the guys that are supposed to be starting are disappointing. Ryan Kelly looks like maybe we had him for like a game, maybe 2, and that's it. And he should just retire because I guess he's I guess he just should, because it's just feeling like a flat out dead end with Ryan Kelly as being center of the Minnesota Vikings. We need to draft better. Donovan Jackson looks semi-promising. We'll see. McCarthy, the ultimate draft pick for this era. This, what's his name again? Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Kwesi, basically, the Kwesi era as the general manager. Needs to be, he's the one. McCarthy is the ultimate test for the general manager and the coach, like both of them. The coach, you're the quarterback whisperer, so let's see JJ McCarthy become something special. I mean, if you can help Sam Darnold, who was supposed to be something special, become a pretty good player. Same with Daniel Jones, who was taken higher than a lot of people thought at the beginning with the Giants, comes over here and look at him. He's on a 6-1 Colts team who, again, lost these 2 linemen to Minnesota, and they're just like, who again? They're like, who the hell are those guys? We don't care. We let them go. I mean, they left. Oh, darn. This guy couldn't stay healthy, and the other guy got hurt too. These other people that replaced him look pretty damn good. And Daniel Jones replaced the big starting quarterback, and he looks awesome as well. But Colts 6-1 on the season, Vikings 3-4. What more can you say? I'm kind of going all over the place here, more like random conversation. I apologize. Talking about the game more or less. It's because the game was unreviewable, basically. The defense got ran over in every facet of the game. The offense was below average, beyond belief below average. Carson Wentz is a backup quarterback playing. You know what Carson Wentz is? He's a backup quarterback who's starting. That's what Carson Wentz is. He's starting because he has to. Because the starter was not available or whatever. He was kind of available as the emergency backup. But in this one, whatever that means. I guess he's there, but we don't want him to play, but we'll play him if we have to. Cute. Carson Wentz was a backup playing in the starting role for this game. That's what Carson Wentz is. That's what Carson Wentz was. So, again, expecting consistent, outstanding play from a Carson Wentz is not realistic. Once in a while, a backup does become a stud. But at this point, it is what it is. Carson Wentz has been through his ups and downs throughout his career. He was a phenomenal prospect many years ago with the Eagles back in 2017, but then the ACL seemed to kind of derail his career, unfortunately. Still looked promising for a couple years with the Eagles, and then things started going downhill, and he had that wonderful renaissance year with the Colts. Funny, the Colts again. And ever since then, he's been a career backup. Since then, he's been, that's his new career, basically. Second career within a career when it comes to Wentz. The running game was non-existent for the most part. Scott did have a 10-yard run. Mason had a long of 4. Jones had a long of 5. Yeah. You hear what I said? Yeah, 30. How many yards did the Vikings get on the ground? 33, I believe. At least among our actual running backs. Yeah, 33. None of the quarterbacks even moved in this game because, there's no protection. Because protection sucked. Jordan Addison had only 3 catches for 26 yards, but he did catch the only touchdown in the frickin' game. TJ Hawkinson, enjoy your contract, buddy, because it's not going to continue. There's no way TJ Hawkinson, unless he wants to do a pretty significant restructure of his contract, we'll be seeing him wear a different jersey on Sundays next year. Unless he retires, but I don't think he's going to retire. Will Reichert did miss a 53-yarder, but he made a 54-yarder. Go figure. And he made the 1 extra point. Good for him. Ryan Wright, who was pretty needed today, 4 punts, Thursday, 4 punts for an average of 46. 3 of them in the 20 and no touchbacks. So good job again, Ryan Wright. A lot better this season than last year. Last year was definitely his weakest season. A lot of people thought Ryan Wright might be looking for a new job after training camp this year or something. A lot of people were thinking that last season, actually, that Ryan Wright, maybe that was his last year here. But this year, he's looking a lot better. And boy, he's been needed. Because this feels a lot more like 2023, doesn't it? It sure does. This feels a lot more like 2023. Cashman with 11 tackles in the game, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about Cashman. He's a good defense. He's a good linebacker, but I don't know. I have nothing really good to say about this defense other than Jonathan Grenard, who had the sack. I thought he was probably the best player on the defensive side of the ball. Rodgers got beaten all over and over and over again. Pace seems to be falling out of favor with the coaching staff and the Flores and such. Okuda just feels like he's just kind of here, and he's consistently beaten. He's very below average at best. It's too bad because what was he, like the third overall pick by Detroit years ago, and he's not worked out. He's kind of like let's see if we can pull out some magic here since we suck at drafting. Let's see if we can take somebody else's quote unquote junk and turn it into treasure. Like someone else's junk is one other person's treasure. So we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out at the end of the day. But it's been a disappointing. Murphy got his nice big contract, and he's disappointing now. Rodriguez has been a positive, I think. Rodriguez has been a positive defensively for Minnesota. He might be one of those cute draft picks that works out pretty well. So that's nice. He was a mid-round pick, wasn't he? Let's make 100% sure here. Yeah, Levi Drake Rodriguez LDR. I guess that sounds kind of cool. No. 9 total tackles. He's a 7th-round pick. So Rick Spielman's type of deal here when it comes to 7th-round picks. He might be the best 7th-round pick in a very long time because he's pretty good. How many rookie 7th-round picks are getting this kind of action? He actually is pretty good. So you can give Kwesi credit for that. Bringing Wilson back was a good thing. What was he? Wasn't he like a Tarkenton Award winner last week, I think? So that's cool. Harrison Smith has been getting burned and beaten, all that stuff. Eventually, Harrison, it's time to go. It's time to go. Thank you. It's been wonderful, but if you've lost your fastball, it is what it is, buddy. I'm not trying to be mean or arrogant to you. As for the Chargers offense, well, Herbert was sharp and all that stuff. He did throw an interception to Josh Metellus, so that was the only really grape jelly stain on his beautiful jersey. You could say he got his beautiful brand new jersey. Big old grape jelly stain on it with that interception, but otherwise it was a near perfect day for him. 18 of 25, or 227 yards. Not that dazzling, but 3 touchdowns, and he looked dazzling out there doing it. It was a dazzling 227 and 122.8 quarterback rating. Yeah, Justin Herbert for the second consecutive performance versus the Vikings anyway, which is once every 4 years, kicked our ass. To be blunt, he kicked our ass. He did. Absolutely killed us, just like he did in the Dome, or whatever, the new Dome, U.S. Bank Stadium, in what's his name's final season with us. That would be Mike Zimmer. Mr. Vital, running back for the running back for the Chargers, 23 attempts, 117, 5 yards a carry. Little Tecmo Bowl football there. Just keep handing it off, basically. Herbert also had a few good scampers, including an 18-yarder for 6, and then 62 total yards, almost 9 yards a rushing attempt. Yikes. Peterson was 2 yards in a cloud of dust for them, but whatever. McConkey got in the end zone. Gadsden got in the end zone for the Chargers. Herbert was completing passes. Keenan Allen only 4 catches, 44 yards, but that's okay. He did well for the most part. And Harris also, on just 2 simple catches, short yardage plays, got in the end zone. Good for him, I guess. Dicker even missed a field goal in the game. That's funny. But, oh darn, I feel so bad. A Bigby, I don't know, probably saying it wrong. I'm saying it wrong probably, but 2 sacks for the Chargers, 2 sacks for him, and then 3 others with Owe, Tuipulutu, my God, guys, and Mack. Thank you, Khalil Mack. Thank you for having an easy name and very, we all know who he is, probably a future Hall of Famer. Most likely, even Perryman is a familiar name as well. But the others, not very easy. Owe is not too bad, though, for the most part. But the Vikings were kind of, sort of still in the game when Carson Wentz threw the touchdown pass to Jordan Addison. Being down 24-3, you felt it's all over, basically, after a Dicker the kicker. Isn't that good? 43-yarder. 5 minutes remaining in the third. Vikings trailed by 14 late in the fourth, but still, it was third, not the fourth. But that's almost 18 minutes of football remaining, like action, and you're down by 2 touchdowns. There's always a possibility. But once it got to be like 31-10 and beyond, it's like forget about it, guys. Game over, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Chargers pretty much stomped the Vikings right out. They electrocuted us, death by 1,000 volts, or total humiliation. That's what Jacob recommended as well for the title. That one's more broad. That could kind of go to anything. I apologize if I was too far away from the microphone, which is really tacky on my part. But yeah, total humiliation. Yeah, it's another one of those basically, along with death by 1,000 volts. I suppose I was kind of thinking of that title the whole time that game was going on, because it's like they're gonna lose. I mean, it's just garbage. Oh, I'm so sorry if I jinxed the team by saying they're gonna lose. You see the game? No, it's like I was saying that as I was watching it. Yeah, they're gonna lose. This is poo, because it was. Paul Allen, Mr. Positivity, was basically like they got embarrassed. They got dominated in every aspect of the game, including coaching. And we're hearing that multiple times this year on the coaching side. Notice that freezing cold silence just now. The room temperature dropped about 20 degrees when I said that. Because it's true. That's why. And I know a lot of people out there are actually very critical of Kevin O'Connell. I try not to be, generally speaking, but I'm not a Kevin O'Connell worshiper. Like the whole, with the Wild, they say the Billy Goats, with Bill Guerin. I'm not a Billy Goat either. I love Bill Guerin for the most part. I think he's a very entertaining general manager. I like his approach, but he's far from perfect. Far. Same thing with Kevin O'Connell and, of course, Kwesi. Both of them did get extensions in the offseason, so God bless them. But I don't know. I mean, not every draft pick Kwesi has made is terrible, but I do think a lot of their career resume, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, really rests on J.J. McCarthy's success. J.J. McCarthy successful, there it is. Kevin O'Connell really is the quarterback whisperer. And at the same time, it still was a nice draft pick with Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell working together on that one. Definitely they collaborated with that. They had to have. You don't just, I'm taking this quarterback when the coach doesn't like him. I don't think that's what happened. All the talk across the planet is, not me parodying anybody, it's just out there, everybody has heard it, multiple occasions going back into the spring of 2024. Drake May was their guy, but he just was too far away, and the Patriots were not going to pass on Drake May. The Patriots were not going to make a trade for the draft pick so the Vikings could take Drake May. The Patriots weren't going to do that, and Patriots, good on you for that. Good job. I mean, look at them. So that doesn't mean J.J. McCarthy's a bust at all. Hopefully McCarthy ends up being something very special indeed. Sample size has been so damn small, we have no damn idea. What did we get, like a quarter of football in preseason play a year ago? And this year, about a quarter of football in preseason play again. And then, a game and a half. I guess it was two games, I guess, with McCarthy in real NFL football. Struggled quite a bit in the first game and then got hot in the fourth quarter. Second game, it sucked. But at the same time, again, he does definitely have some ground to stand on when it comes to multiple offensive linemen being hurt. And that kind of falls on the general manager there, unfortunately. And, also bad luck. There's bad luck in that type of thing as well. But still, man, the frustrations, to say the least. Awful football game. If this is a playoff team, I got a bridge to tell you. I mean, it's a fraud of it's a fraud of a season so far. Fraud. And the season is not over. It's not. They're bajillions of miles away from. They're bajillions of miles away from being eliminated per se. Well, maybe not that far, but it's a ways to go. But man, that's scary. Sorry, I just saw something. 15-year-old dead in head-on car crash. Head-on collision. I don't even want to know. I'm sorry for this person. Yikes. It's just Chisago City. Yeah, I'm sorry. So that's my Garage Logic little brief news report there. Reading the news anyway. That sucks to see that. That kind of popped up on the screen here after the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays. I hate it. Anyhow, yes, I hate it. It's a 5-game series now there. Yeah, I don't know. What more is there to say? Let's talk about the weather in Cambodia. Let's also talk about that annoying east wind that was bothering me a little bit when I'm trying to have a fire Saturday night outside. But it worked out in the end. Just annoying sometimes because I don't want the east wind. I want the wind to blow the smoke into the woods. Kind of some semi-woods versus in my face, but that's how that goes. Anyhow, Reichert already covered that. Wright and Reichert. Wright was pretty damn good, and he had to be. Defense is pathetic and horrible, and I'm tired of it. I don't think Brian Flores is a hot coaching candidate anymore. I don't. Not if the defense is this disappointing. It's sorry, but it's just a fact. How can you look at him as a hot coaching candidate when the defense is this bad? So it is what it is. I do think he's a wonderful coordinator, but so far, not so much this year. Not so much. And it doesn't help when guys like, Van Ginkel are hurt every flipping week. Almost dropped an F-bomb there. It's frustrating. It really is. Every bleeping week. And Cashman, well, he's there some weeks and he's gone the next. Doesn't help the offensive line either on the other side of the ball. Doesn't help this, doesn't help that. Tons of sympathy for Wentz going through the pain and the frustrations in that game. He is what he is. I know he's a decent quarterback, but he's a backup though, and I don't mind having him as a backup. It's just that it's the same thing, same conversation. Your backup quarterback is your backup quarterback, and just to come out and say a guy sucks when he's a backup quarterback is kind of, I don't know. It's okay to get frustrated, but it is what it is. I'd rather have him as a backup quarterback than the other players that I've mentioned 15 times already this year. The Sean Mannions and whoever the heck these other people were. I keep forgetting the guy from Utah that we had in there. That like he couldn't complete a pass for like five yards, much less Sean Mannion trying to complete one for 8 yards. It was just awful, sad and embarrassing to be quite frank. Jaron Hall, that's his name. Yeah, if that's your backup, you're not winning anything. There's no way. I mean, Carson Wentz is better than Jaron Hall. Nick Mullins is probably better than Carson Wentz right now, except for the occasional, like, what the hell was that play? Josh Dobbs can't hang on to the ball. I'm sorry, he can't hang on to the ball. If you can't hang on to the ball, I don't really want you in there. I'm sorry. Sorry. No. Anyhow, I've gone on way too long. But it's like, as much as I don't want to say anything, there's too much to say. That's kind of what it is right now. That's why, Purple Daily's vent line went on for 2 bleeping hours. Because it's like, as much as like, I don't have anything to say, yeah, you end up saying twice as much. Because you're like going crazy, basically. This team is driving you crazy. It's driving me crazy. That's for sure. It's driving me crazy. The Fran Tarkington Award winner for this episode is Jonathan Grenard, I guess. I guess it's Jonathan Grenard. Carson Wentz for being a warrior, I suppose. I mean, it certainly was. Christian Ponder Memorial. It's Max Brosmer because he didn't complete all 4 of his passes for like 3 yards. Yeah, it's Brosmer, damn it. No, it's not. It's not one of the running backs. It's not one of the quarterbacks. As much as you want me to trash Carson Wentz, I mean, he's a number 2. He's a number 2 playing in the starter role. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Just like you have the backup shortstop. You have Denny Hawking instead of when Christian Guzman was at his best. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's reality. He's not Steve Young behind Joe Montana. It's not the same. And obviously, J.J. McCarthy is far from Joe Montana at this moment. Honorable mention to Justin Jefferson. Obviously, if you want to do offense and defense, yeah, Justin Jefferson's the only pick on the offensive side of the ball for the Tarkenton. For the Christian Ponder Memorial, I mean, it's kind of like everybody. Harrison Smith was pretty bad. Honestly, he was pretty bad. Rodgers was pretty bad. Pace, I don't know what the hell happened with him, honestly. Murphy, meh. Meh, that's all I got to say. The defensive linemen, generally speaking, are awful, frankly. Even though Allen did get a sack in the game, I don't think he was anything impressive. Okuda. That's just kicking a guy when he's down, frankly, at this point. So it's kind of like, generally speaking, just the whole bleeping no-show vibe. The defense in general, outside of Jonathan Grenard, generally speaking, it's kind of like the Ponder Memorial. You can't really give it to an individual player. You can give it to Kwesi, you can give it to the coach, you can give it to the defensive coordinator. You can kind of give it to all of them. It's kind of a collective team effort here when it comes to the Christian Ponder Memorial at the end of the day. Targeting is going to go to either Grenard or Mr. Justin Jefferson. I'll give it to Grenard just because I thought he played well, generally speaking. He was the only guy really doing anything for this frickin' defense, which deserves some frustration, to say the least. Yes, Mattel's got an interception, but he stunk as well in the game, to be quite blunt. With that said, we're going to take a quick break, come back, look around the league, and preview the Detroit Lions, and McCarthy will start in the next game. McCarthy is your starting quarterback in the next game. Oh, and by the way, the Gophers lost 41-3 to Iowa. Raise your hand if you're surprised. I'm not seeing any hands. I'm not seeing anyone. Vikings or the Gophers, no matter how good they looked the week before, whenever they play Iowa, it's always like an absolute, ass whooping, and that's pretty much what it was, to say the least. With that said, here's hoping the Vikings do not face another ass whooping against the Detroit Lions coming up. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. Time to look around the league, preview the Detroit Lions and all that good stuff. Detroit did not play this week, so we're going to have to backtrack when we talk about them. So Detroit was on the bye. Unfortunately, Green Bay's about to be flashing on the screen. The Timberwolves are flashing on the screen, beating the Pacers. Pacers, of course, without Halliburton, who had the Achilles tear in the NBA Finals last year, which did not help their cause. It's too bad. It would have been nice to see the Pacers beat the freaking Thunder. I would have liked that. And the Timberwolves tonight lost Anthony Edwards in the first quarter after scoring 5 points with tightness in his hamstring. So there's your Timberwolves update. Timberwolves are leading by 6 with about 2.5 minutes remaining. Julius Randle dribbles up around the elbow, drives the lane, kind of falls over, gets it out to I couldn't see Conley, who then swung it over to Jaden McDaniels, who missed the corner 3. Terrific. Great. Here come the Pacers, and they missed their corner 3. That went in, but the ball went over the backboard first. That was like a horse shot. So anyhow, let's get back to where we are. The Miami Dolphins, and all the criticism and the mean stuff I said about Tua, I am not apologizing one bit. I don't give a dang. I am not apologizing. Whatever. I don't give a damn. Okay? What the bleep ever. I don't give a damn. Dolphins 34, the Falcons 10. Yeah, the Dolphins finally win their second game of the season. Mike McDaniel still the head coach. Congratulations. Tua passed, he completed 20 of 26 for 205 yards. Sorry. He was only sacked once. He had 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdown passes anyway, did Tua. 1 to Waddell, 1 to Washington, 1 to Arcane, and 1 to Gordon the second. Anything else for you? The Dolphins won pretty handily. In the game, former Viking training camp kicker invitee Riley Patterson made both of his kicks, but they were chip shots. Miami dominates the Atlanta Falcons. And who started at quarterback for the Falcons? Kirk Cousins. Future backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. Well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe. 21 of 31. 173 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He's definitely not the same guy, though. That's the sad part. John Robinson, only 9 rushes and 2.8 a carry. It was 2 yards in a cloud of dust. He also lost a fumble. And, of course, the Falcons were playing from behind. Can I also make note of something very important in this one? This was a home game for the Atlanta Falcons. Home game for the Atlanta Falcons. But Atlanta is a warm climate, just like Pittsburgh. Just like Miami or whatever, and Hawaii and all that for Tua. But it's also an indoor stadium. Parker Romo, another Minnesota Viking former kicker, training camp invitee, made one of his kicks, only one attempt from 45 yards, and he made it. He's a nice fantasy kicker now. I might be picking him up. We'll see. Parker Romo, I tried to get him a few weeks ago, wound up with Prater, of all people, who is a fantastic kicker. But, in fantasy purposes, Romo might be more valuable because I think they kick more field goals in Atlanta this year than Buffalo does for some reason. Pittsburgh Steelers have the ball and are leading 9-7 in the Aaron Rodgers Bowl there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on NBC. Yes, sir. Kansas City, the Yuck City Chefs host the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. I guess there's no doubleheader this week. Go figure. The New York Jets finally win a football game. So it was a happy day for the Jets and the Miami Dolphins, both winning football games today in an epic shootout battle. The Joe Flacco Bowl, the team that, whatever. The Jets win 39-38 in an epic shootout in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm sure the fans in Cincinnati were really excited about this. They were dancing on the... No, they weren't happy at all. Breece Hall also threw a touchdown pass in one of those cute little trick plays, and he ran into. So Breece Hall owners in the fantasy world rejoice. It was Tecmo Bowl football for the New York Jets, as Hall had only 18 rushing attempts, 133 yards, a long of 35, 7.4 per carry. Davis, also the running back there, had a 50-yard scamper, otherwise 6 more that were kind of small, short yardage, dillies. But Breece Hall with a touchdown pass and 2 touchdowns rushing, good for him. Justin Fields sort of had a field day, quarterback rating of 99, so good for him, 244 yards. Got to feel good for Justin Fields, honestly. Touchdown pass, and the Jets escape Cincinnati with a win. Nick Folk made all 3 of his kicks. McNamara sounds like a executive somewhere. He's a punter for the Jets. He's been very busy, I'm sure, during the course of this season. But the Jets win in a shootout versus Cincy. We'll look at Cincinnati really quick. Flacco threw for 2 touchdowns, did not throw an interception, did not lose a fumble. 223 yards, good for him. But a bummer for the Bengals, who also had tackleable football on the ground. It was definitely a great day. Good football game in terms of quality. I mean, you got to be honest. It was a good football game in terms of quality. It was. Perrine, 9 rushes, 94 yards. 10.5 a carry got in the end zone. Chase Brown, 12 rushes, 73 yards, 6.1 a carry got in the end zone. Joe Flacco also scampered into the end zone along the way. Great day for him. If fantasy owners started Joe Flacco, it was a pretty good day for him. So kind of one of those desperation, like, oh, God, I don't have anybody. Flacco, well, he's been playing pretty well in Cincinnati, and he has, to be fair. Good job, generally speaking. So that Cincinnati pass rush is about as bad as the Vikings. 0 sacks on Justin Fields. I don't believe this. The Wolves are up by 8 like a minute ago. They're up by 2 now, and hoping to not turn the ball over on the way up the court. I feel so confident with 38-year-old Mike Conley leading the charge. 38-year-old Mike Conley leading the charge. Years ago, Mike Conley, awesome player. He's 38 now, though. He's the Joe Flacco of NBA point guards, if that. In fact, sadly, I'd say Flacco's a better quarterback than Conley's a point guard at this point. I'm just being honest with you. I think he is. But we'll continue. Let's get off of that. The Patriots and the Browns, who do you think won that game? Just take one guess. Who won between the Patriots and the Browns? I know Vince Germano's not going to be too happy about this one, and I don't blame him at all. The Patriots 32, the Browns 13. Brown bag football once again. Gabriel, their late third round pick, is starting. Rookie, by the way. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't know. Who starts third round rookies? I don't know. Not many teams. Just Cleveland Brown type teams, basically. I don't know what to tell you. 35 attempts, 156 yards. I don't know. Whoever's writing home about that, I don't know. They're not too happy. Let's look at the Patriots side. It's just Yuck City in Cleveland or whatever they call the damn place. It is what it is. It's just wonderful. The Patriotas. Okay, whatever that means. Drake May did have that grape jelly stain. Doggone it. Otherwise, his quarterback rating would be pretty close to perfect. 18 of 24. 135.8 quarterback rating despite the interception. Which, he did have a fumble, but it was not lost. Him being Drake May. 282 yards on just 24 attempts to 3 touchdowns. Drake May is getting closer and closer to that superstar status already. So good for him. Good for him. Good for Drake May. The New England Patriots are 6-2. The New England Patriots, I'll remind you once again, are 6-2. Isn't that amazing? So go Patriots in a lot of ways. It's nice to see them back in the fold again. I know a lot of people might be like, yuck. But I don't know. I just didn't feel the arrogance level that the Chiefs have from the Patriots. Same with the 49ers. Yeah, I did feel it from the Seahawks. I did feel it from the Cowboys. Seahawks, way back in the 90s with the Cowboys, the Seahawks in the 2010s. Yuck. Can't stand teams like that. Pure arrogance. Chiefs, pure arrogance. 49ers and Patriots, it's just different vibe. It's just how I see it. Steelers, when they were, winning a couple Super Bowls recently, semi-recently, many years now, back when I started podcasting. That is a long time ago. Not a big fan. Kind of a chippy team. Not a fan. But we'll move on off of that about my personal feelings towards certain teams. You're probably bored with hearing that by now. Classic NFC East matchup, Eagles and the Giants, but it ain't what it used to be. Let me tell you, it really isn't. It just isn't. The Giants are not Giants at all. They're just a team that with the name Giants, and it says NY on their helmet, but they're not the Giants we remember. They do have a quarterback of the future who is, he's okay. He's okay. He's not Drake May, and he is a rookie as well. Drake May was just okay as a rookie as well. So like a year or two on the books, and we'll see how Dart improves with the Giants. 14 or 24, almost 200 yards. Did throw a touchdown, but did not have an interception. So good for him. He also did run the ball into the end zone. He darted into the end zone. See what I did there? I know, it was real funny. Jalen Hurts was putting the Hurts on the Giants, just like he put the Hurts on the Vikings. And Saquon Barkley's back. Oh, he's back. 150 yards on 14 carries, almost 11 yards a carry. He did have a 65-yard scamper. As I once said, there goes Saquon Barkley. Well, there he went. Eagles wearing those classic Randall Cunningham-era uniforms. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Loved him very much. Jalen Hurts, 15-20. Awesome. 179 yards, 4 touchdowns again. Jalen Hurts has been playing some awesome football of late. Quarterback rating near perfect level at 141.5. Eagles look great, 6-2. Giants look, awful, like they've been the last few years. 2-6, just like Cleveland, basically. Buffalo Bills visiting North Carolina. And I'm getting a white screen, but it's eventually coming around in Bank of America Stadium. Bank of America Stadium. Doesn't that make you feel all warm and fuzzy? I don't know. Well, it's the Bank of America. Who's Cook again? It's called Cook the Third, right? James Cook. I didn't want to say the wrong name. It's James. I don't want to say some other name and sound like a fool. 200 yards on the ground for Mr. Cook the Third. James Cook the Third, cousin of former Minnesota Viking Delvin Cook. Yes, Delvin Cook. 216 yards on the ground, a Terrell Davis-like performance, and I'm not even kidding. 2 touchdowns, 200-plus yards. That's Terrell Davis in the late 90s with the Denver Broncos when he was the best player on the planet. There wasn't a better player in the world before Terrell Davis had that unfortunate ACL tear in 1999. What a damn shame that was, because he was the best player in the world. I mean, that's another team. See, like when there was the eras where this team was a bunch of arrogant jerks, and this team was kind of classy. I thought Denver was kind of classy. I did. Like Patriots, kind of classy. I know a lot of people don't like Tom Brady. I don't think he was that arrogant, though. I don't think he's Kansas City Chiefs Travis Kelce level. I just don't. I don't think it was Seahawks with their big mouth either. All those guys with their big mouths, Michael Bennett, Richard Sherman, big mouth, blech. Guys like that. Like Buffalo, I don't see that from them either. If they actually win a Super Bowl. Jared Allen. Did I call him Jared Allen? Josh Allen, Jake Allen, whatever. Jake Allen is a goaltender in the National Hockey League. He's playing pretty well for Montreal right now, the Canadiens. But Josh Allen, the former Wyoming Cowboy, that's right, for the Buffalo Bills, even though they're in the state of New York. It's funny how it's like this cowboy look in Buffalo, New York. It's kind of funny. But that's the name of the city, so it is what it is. 12 of 19, one touchdown pass, but he also ran in two. And the Buffalo Bills stomp the Carolina Panthers into the ground. The little kittens, they're the kittens. They're not really anything right now. The roar has been restored in Detroit, but in Carolina, North Carolina, that is, they're 4-4. They're not terrible, but if they make the playoffs, it'll be barely. They'll be like the 7th seed. We'll see if that happens. Buffalo still hanging in there, trying to compete with the New England Patriots for the division title, kind of like they did years and years ago when the Buffalo Bills were still kind of good, with Drew Bledsoe having like a renaissance for a few years, for like a number of years with the Bills, versus being with the Patriots, of course, after Tom Brady took over. Matt Prater made both of his kicks because he rocks. He missed an extra point, though. What the bleep? Come on, Matt. He missed one of his extra points, 4 of 5. Bullcrap, 45-yard long, but he did have 10 fantasy points, so to speak. Should be 11, though, you son of a gun. But the Bills just basically crushed the Panthers pretty bad. Yeah, how many sacks? 1, 2, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. Where's the other one? Where's the half sack? Doesn't make any sense. Well, 6.5 sacks, so basically 7 sacks on, the Carolina side. Yep. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, was sacked 7 bleeping times by the Buffalo pass rush. Did have an interception, did not throw a touchdown. So Dwaddle did not dawdle too much, but they were playing from behind. Still wound up with 54 yards because he's a wonderful running back. But, did not work out. Did not work out for the North Carolina Panthers. I just say North Carolina. I don't know. Carolina sounds funny. Call it North Carolina. Houston hosting the San Francisco 49ers. Probably everybody and their mother was picking the 49ers in this one, because they've been overachieving despite the injury after injury after injury after injury. And Houston's been underachieving despite just, I don't know, they're supposed to be better than they are. Whatever. And the Texans won the game. Go figure. 26-15. 49ers only monster 15 points. Mac Jones, not Matt, but Mac. I almost said Matt. Threw 2 touchdown passes, but he did have the grape jelly stain all over that beautiful, gorgeous San Francisco jersey. Unfortunately, because I love the 49ers uniforms. I love their helmets. Best helmets in the world other than the New York Jets. Number 1 is the Jets helmet. Number 2 is the 49ers. Uniforms in the NFL, I think it's the Niners. Best uniform in the league. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Honestly, it didn't work out, though. San Francisco's offense just sputtered and struggled, and they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. McCaffrey only had 8 rushes, 3 yards a carry, a long of 9. Exciting. Fun. Not. On the Houston side, well, things worked a little bit. Stroud did have his grape jelly stain with an interception, but was 30 of 39. He was pretty good. Stroud's looking more and more like a superstar again after a sophomore slump last year and a kind of a junior junk start to this year, but he's definitely picked it up ever since I signed him on fantasy for the most part. Right around that, magically, the exact week that I signed him, he blew up. He had that spectacular game. He hasn't been as good as that one since then, but been pretty good, generally speaking. The running game did work, basically, in Houston with just 11 carries for Mark, 62 yards. Nick Chubb, 17 carries for 56. Not great, but consistent, I guess. And CJ moving around as well with that mobility. The offense, basically, to be fair, and this is a fantasy kicker that I probably need to sign. I was looking at him last night, man. Fair Baron, but I'm going to sign him before you get a chance to sign him because I like him. Or at least I'm going to try to. I think I just blew it, though, because I didn't make the move already, and then here comes waivers. That sucks. But we're not in the same league, so I don't have to worry too much. I'd be shocked if somebody in the league actually listens to this show. That'd be funny. He's a nice fantasy kicker, and he's a free agent. He's by far the most attractive one. Kaimi, Fairbairn, rolls right off your tongue, coming right out of Hawaii. Kaluha, Hawaii. Kalua, not Kaluha, Kalua, Hawaii. You could tell it's a different kind of a name. And he's a good kicker, man. He's awesome. He made all of his kicks today in the Houston Texans, kicking some San Francisco ass. Sons of biscuits. Nollins hosting the Tampa Bay Schmucks. And the Schmucks were not the Schmucks. The Saints were not marching in. 3 points. That's it. 3 points for the Saints, 23 for the Bucks. Not a very fun game, but 23-3 is still a 20-point victory for the the Bucks. Baker Mayfield did not throw a touchdown or an interception, and he didn't fumble the ball either, from what I can tell. So good for him. But it's not a fun game at all. It just wasn't. Just kind of black and blue, meh football. Tucker and White, 42 yards and 35 yards respectively. 3.5 for Tucker, 2.7 for for White of Tampa. Just kind of a meh game. Defensive battle back and forth. Quite a few pass deflections by the Tampa Bay defense, though. Very impressive. Winfield Jr. had one with an interception. Congratulations. 2 for McCollum. 2 pass deflections for him. Another interception by Nelson. But it was also a pick 6 by Nelson of Tampa. A pick 6, which helped the cause there for the Bucks. Basically, that won the game. Like, if it was just one touchdown, it won the game. Rather, threw an interception, and Show also threw an interception. Not a good game for either Saints quarterback. Tyler Show, I believe he was a rookie. Yeah, second round pick. 8th pick in the second round. So he's trying to show what he can do. That was funny, right? He's 26 already, so he's another one of those he's one of those old draft pick quarterbacks. Do those ever work out? Like ever? Like ever? Wasn't there a guy from Minnesota that was like 28? And he's just yeah, he's a starter. Yeah, for like this awful team. Was it Cleveland years ago? Was he from Minnesota? He was just meh. He's just meh, like at best. Like 27, 28 years old. The guy I talked about in the first segment that used to be with the Vikings with I keep forgetting his name. Jaron Hall, right? Awful. Like he was old. Like he's awful. And I don't mean to be mean to him. You thought maybe there was some potential there, and there's nothing there. It's just nothing. And that's kind of what I see with the New Orleans Saints right now. There was like a mid-round pick, and it's just, he's like, okay, we'll give him a chance. I mean, all the other guys that we would have liked were already gone, so what the hell? And then this other one, it's just like an older guy. He's 20. Is he 25 or 20? He's 26, and he's a rookie. Yay! I mean, yay! 26-year-old rookie. I don't know. That's nothing to write home about, even if it's semi-early, a pretty early pick, 8th in the second round. Sometimes you can get a pretty good player there. But in that case, I don't know about that. Denver Broncos, I kind of had a feeling they were going to beat the Cowboys, and boy, did they ever. 44-24. Broncos are 5-2. That's right. They look good. They look real good. Cowboys dropped to 3-3-1 with their weird record after tying the Green Bay Packers like a few months ago already. Since we're already a couple months into the season. It's Halloween week, if you can believe it. It's crazy. This year's just like they always do. 2 interceptions for a $60 million piece of cowboy uniform, I guess. Dak Prescott. Yeah, he sucks. He sucks for $60 million a year per season. That's pretty lousy. Way to show up, guy. Great. $60 million a year. Can't get over that one. Just can't do it. Well, the running back got in the ball twice for Dallas Cowboys. That would be Javonte Williams. So at least he did his job for the most part. Years ago, second round pick. Couple of touchdowns for him. Nice day. Good job. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Denver Broncos destroy the Dallas Cowboys. Bo Nix had some nice moments. The only part that he looked semi-disappointed is when he couldn't complete the pass was deflected on a 2-point conversion attempt. Otherwise, Bo Nix with 4 touchdown passes. He did have an interception in the game. Dobbins on the ground as well. My gosh, Tecmo Bowl football, man. 111 yards, 7.4 a carry. Stick stuff. Harvey got in the end zone twice. That's the number 2 running back there. And J.K., he's just kidding, Dobbins for the Denver Broncos. Great day for the Broncos, and they continue to be, a very nice football team, to be quite honest. It's not like I love the Broncos or anything, but they look good. I do know Gerald String, that's his second favorite team. So, in a lot of ways, well, it's like my second favorite team is either the 49ers or the Patriots. It's kind of like that, if you can't tell. NFC's 49ers, and AFC's the Patriots. Otherwise, it's the Vikings. as the favorite team, if you didn't notice. Jets are my favorite uniforms or jerseys or whatever. Indianapolis Colts, that's Daniel Carlson's Daniel Jones's favorite team. That's for sure. 38-14. Yes, the Titans suck, but 38-14. It's 38-14. This doesn't. Was that this week? This just, it feels like deja vu. I guess this was this week. This is like Back to the Future here, man. You know, like Back to the Future, I'm experiencing deja vu. Yeah, Back to the Future 2, 38-14. I thought they just played these guys, didn't they? I'm so confused right now. But regardless, the Titans are awful, and the Colts are not. 38-14. Colts couldn't care less about those linemen that came to Minnesota. Cam Ward, the number 1 pick in the draft. Well, you know, we'll see what happens. He's a rookie year. I mean, Peyton Manning threw like 30 interceptions as a rookie, so it is what it is. Peyton Manning threw 30 interceptions. That's not quite, or was it 28 or something? It was over 20. Daniel Jones is not throwing interceptions. He threw 3 touchdowns. He's getting better and better week by week. Before it was like a touchdown, maybe 2, and then like 200 yards. Now it's 3 touchdowns and like almost 300 for Daniel Jones. The confidence is improving, and my goodness, Taylor is unbelievable. Jonathan Taylor might be the MVP of the league this year, the way he's going. He's the Saquon Barkley of this season, no doubt. I remember how Saquon Barkley last year was just running all over everybody. 12 attempts, 153 yards, and a long of 80, 2 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. He's the best of the best right now. Michael Pittman Jr. had a nice game as well. Pardon me as I try not to sneeze to death. But Michael Pittman Jr., yeah, of course, is the year after. He was on your fantasy team. He's having a better season, and he has a better quarterback throwing him the ball. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than he's had there in Indianapolis. What does Daniel Jones have? 13 touchdowns, because obviously this is not added in yet. He's been wonderful, hasn't he? Man, he's been outstanding. Already more touchdowns thrown than all of last season when it was a partial year with the Giants. Ultimately being let go and wind up with the Vikings as like a kind of behind-the-scenes guy, basically. I don't think he was ever even activated as a member of the Vikings. It's too bad, you know. Everybody's like, and what they're saying, like, what an epic story it would be if it was, it was like the Colts versus the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Where it'd be Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones, just like the ultimate troll job by the, you know, they call them the NFL gods or whatever, if something like that happened. But Colts look spectacular. They really do. It's looking less and less like a fluke and more like a, you know, like more of a trend than a mirage, as they say. Baltimore hosting the Chicago Bears. Baltimore was 1-5 coming into this game. They're now 2-5 as they dominate the Bears pretty good after the Bears looked decent early on. Bears dropped from 4-2 to 4-3, 30-16. The Baltimore Ravens get a much needed win, we'll call it, versus the Bears. Even though you had Tyler Huntley as quarterback, who actually had a decent game. Yeah, 17-22 is not bad. 186 yards, a touchdown. Quarterback rating of 116.9. That's pretty solid. The now ancient Derrick Henry with 71 very tough yards, a 3.5 a carry, and 2 touchdowns for him. Very smash-mouth football there. Huntley showing some of that mobility. He had a very strong performance, and boy, did this Baltimore team need it. You lose this game, I think that's probably it. Like, you're 1-6, you're done. You know, Baltimore's better than a 1-5, 1-6 team, and well, there's still hope. Lamar Jackson, I believe, will be back next week. We'll have to wait and see how that all turns out. The Bears, though, Caleb Williams just kind of reverted back to the mediocre guy he's been so far since starting last season as the number 1 pick in the draft. 25 of 38, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best. 285 yards passing, and he had the interception as well. No touchdowns thrown. 77.2 quarterback rating. The Bears, you know, the running game was kind of working a little bit, and then it just suddenly wasn't. Swift got in the end zone. That would be more properly said, but only 41 total yards for DeAndre Swift. I hate that name. It's not his fault though. Odunze also 7 catches for 114 yards, but again, could not get in the end zone, unfortunately, for the Bears. Moore as well. DJ Moore also could not get in the end zone, despite a fairly strong performance. It's a frustrating day for the Chicago Bears, and reality setting in a little bit in this one. A little bit. Like, I don't think the Bears are toast or anything. They look better than the Vikings so far this year. Let's just be blunt and honest about that. We're going to switch over to NBC as the Minnesota Timberwolves did defeat the Pacers by 4 points. Julius Randle with 31 points in Anthony Edwards' stead. Unfortunately, on behalf of Anthony Edwards after the injury, we'll say it, tightness in the hamstring, not the Achilles. Let's not even go there, please. Even though hamstrings are really annoying and frustrating as well. Let's not even think about it if humanly possible. Detroit Lions were on the bye, but of course they're a very dangerous football team, 5-2 on this season, and yeah, what do the Vikings have? 1 win in the Dan Campbell era, I do believe. So pretty wild, pretty crazy. How many people believe that the Detroit Lions will finally break through this year to the Super Bowl? Could happen. This one's in Detroit, November the 2nd. Of course, it'll already be post Halloween. It'll already be kind of like early Christmas season in a lot of ways, you could say. So Dan Campbell here has been very tough on the Minnesota Vikings. Jared Goff with 1,631 yards. David Montgomery also actually threw a touchdown pass this year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like an interesting play along the way. Yeah, a 3-yard play. Jahmyr Gibbs, ever capable of being a huge threat up the middle, as that's what he was against the Minnesota Vikings. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been a headache for the Vikings as well. Sam Laporta looks like the better tight end versus the guy over here in T.J. Hawkinson. There's no doubt about that. Aiden Hutchinson's healthy again. He's got 6 sacks to lead the way. Al-Qaedin Muhammad with 5. Jack Campbell with 3. Derek Barnes also with 3 sacks. 3 interceptions for Kirby Joseph, who has a reputation of being a little bit of a dirty player, doesn't he? So he's been a pain in the ass to deal with historically. Jack Campbell officially leads the Lions with the most tackles. 22 more tackles than Derek Barnes, who's coming in second. So pretty wild stuff there. Jared Goff, of course, is the leader of the franchise. There's no doubt about that. He's had his generally strong numbers there in Detroit. 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, an epic start to the season, despite a early loss to the Packers at the beginning of the year, which had a lot of people worried and frustrated in Detroit. Who could forget, way back in 21, Vikings inch out a close one versus Dan Campbell. It was emotional. They were crying. They were heartbroken because they just could not get the win. And then Detroit edged the Vikings at the last second to get their first win in the regular season that year. First win in the Dan Campbell era, if I remember correctly, for a touchdown pass. Jared Goff, who was considered kind of a mediocre guy who the Rams had given up on. And it's like you just kind of knew that Jared Goff at some point would turn it around and be like he was in 2018, where he was a huge threat going forward, 17-18, going forward into the future that, as you get to the Super Bowl in 2018, him being Jared Goff, of course. Last year, 37 touchdown passes, 30-12 for the Lions, but also really good in 2022 was Jared Goff. So far this year, like I said, 15-3 in the whole touchdown interception ratio. 4,500 plus yards, almost 4,600 in 23, over 4,600 last year, and probably on pace for a similar type of year this year. Quarterback rating is as high as it's ever been for Jared Goff at 116.4 in the first 7 games. Last year was a career high of 111.8 for the aforementioned Jared Goff. The 15-2 Detroit Lions, who couldn't even win a playoff game last year, and the Vikings also couldn't even win a playoff game after their regular season Super Bowl. Let me make a note. These Pittsburgh Steelers uniforms are ugly. Yeah, they are ugly. Whatever it is, whatever it was, if it's a historic jersey, which it sure looks like it, it's ugly stuff. But not as ugly as the Packer uniforms that look like the Michigan Wolverines. They're wearing white helmets, are the Packers, which is really weird looking. Not sure I understand what's going on there. Steelers lead 16-7, so Aaron Rodgers is winning the Rodgers Bowl so far in this one. And this is a rematch of the Super Bowl many, many, many years ago in 2010 when the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers leading the way defeated the hated Steelers in that Super Bowl, because at that time I didn't like the Steelers very much. Was sick of seeing them win, Big Ben and all them. So, but yep, like 99% of the population around here wanted the Packers to win that one, or did not want the Packers to win, and I totally understand. Rodgers looks like he maybe some people would be like, he looks like he should be wearing those 100-year-old uniforms. These are two of the oldest teams in NFL history playing each other. Nice pass deflection there by number 25 of the of the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers looks pissed off at somebody. Was he saying, let's go for it, or what? Yep, we're seeing irritable Aaron Rodgers again. I think he was saying there should have been a flag, yeah. Come on! Oh, yeah. Oh, that's why he's mad. There should have been an offsides call. Like, where was the flag, guys? So that should have been a free play for Pittsburgh. Instead, no offsides is called. Sorry, now they're discussing. I got to get out of here. Detroit Lions, though. Do I think the Vikings are going to win in Detroit? No, I don't. I don't think the Vikings beat Detroit. It's kind of like, I'm very excited to see J.J. McCarthy back out there. And it's kind of like a whole reality type of thing as well. And do we owe it to the kid, like Jan Barrero said this morning on Sunday sermons? No, we don't owe it to the kid. But you kind of owe it to the fans to see what he can do. And, it's not even like owing it to the kid or anything. Carson Wentz is hurt. Carson Wentz is hurt. He has an injured shoulder. The other quarterback is, he's an undrafted free agent. God bless him. What are we going to do? Sign Kirk Cousins so he can throw for 0 touchdowns and 173 yards? I mean, I don't know. Now, historically, he had some great games against Detroit, but not this Detroit team. That was the terrible ones, generally speaking. So that was the what's his name era. What was that guy's name? Matt Patricia era, when the Vikings dominated the Detroit Lions. The Dan Campbell era, it's been a completely different story. So Jahmyr Gibbs just ran all over the Vikings right up the middle. David Montgomery could power his way through. Jared Goff has lit us up. And this secondary has not been good. The defensive line has been non-existent for the most part. Maybe you'll get a sack or two, but generally speaking, they don't make the stops. The pass rush is not there so far. And on the other side of the trenches for Minnesota, it's arguably even worse. Like, I don't know which side of the trenches are worse right now. The defensive line should be better because it's the starters, and they still suck. Whereas on the other side of the ball, it's a bunch of backups. It's 3 backups, the center, the right and left tackle. You're just like bleeped when you see that. And against Aiden Hutchinson and this pretty aggressive Detroit defense, it's I don't know. I can't pick the Vikings to win the game. I think Detroit wins by double digits. They've had some. Let's see if we can go back. Detroit recently beat Tampa 24-9. So definitely some epic stuff for them. Yeah, they had that stupid loss at the beginning of the year, but pretty much since then, Detroit's been damn good. They killed the Bears. They beat the Ravens in a great back-and-forth game. Killed the Browns. Big surprise there. Recently lost to the Chiefs, which is kind of annoying, but that's how that goes. But a pretty good Tampa Bay team, giving them their second loss, 24-9, in Detroit. I think the Vikings is going to be a final score of, when you look at this, I'm coming up with, I keep seeing the number 31 to 21. The Detroit Lions will beat the Vikings by 10. J.J. McCarthy will look better, I think. I think J.J. McCarthy looks better. He'll be in Michigan. Hey, it'll be Michigan. He was the Michigan quarterback. Not that I think that's going to make him necessarily play great or anything, but I think we're going to see some better play out of J.J. McCarthy. Maybe got some of the mental game down and all of that, but I'm very excited to see what he can do out there. Again, it's owing it to the fans more so than owing it to the kid. And, it is owing it to the fans. Let's see what he can do. And again, Carson Wentz is basically hurt, and Brosmer is a, undrafted free agent. So it is what it is. McCarthy, let's see what you can do. Come on, let's go. Let's see what you can do. So that's what it's going to be. McCarthy will throw for 2 touchdown passes, which will be a nice thing. But the Vikings ultimately do not win the game. What was that? That was like a Texas League looking throw. And the Green Bay tight end caught it and ended up being a big mess. And boy, they could not tackle him for the longest time, them being the Steelers. But anyhow, Detroit beats the Vikings by 10. Bottom line. With that said, we'll be right back for fan interaction.
Hey, Joey. Finally getting round to doing a call-in. I mean, as you know, we've had a couple of primetime games, and I'm at a sort of stage in life where really I can't be bothered staying up till 4:30 in the morning, especially at the start of the season. When they become meaningful games towards the latter part of the season, that's a different ballgame completely, because by then you are totally invested in what's going on. So we rock into the bye 3-2, which in some respects I find quite surprising considering the carnage that we've had on the offensive side of the ball. A line that's completely decimated by injury is quite upsetting to see, but certainly Sunday they found ways to deal with that, and that line held up pretty well. Certainly the first half, Wentz wasn't sacked. I think he was sacked 3 times in total, which was a major improvement on the previous week. 2 games in Europe. I was quite surprised that the Vikings went down that route, especially playing Pittsburgh in Ireland, because Ireland has a big fan base of Steelers fans. So that was always likely to be a more predominantly home game for the Steelers, which it turned out to be. London, the Browns fans don't particularly travel that well. There was a good sprinkling of them in that stadium, but it was, I guess, anywhere between 35 and 45% Purple fans, which did give it that home field vibe, which is a major advantage. And I kind of get why the organisation has started to do more London games as the away team. And if you've got a team, a poor team, say like the Jets last year, you are going to have an advantage. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not the team's over in London again next year. We'll just have to wait and see. But we've moved into the bye at 3-2, which is certainly more positive. After Dublin, I kind of felt, well, where's this season going? Is it going to be win one, lose one, and we end up winning 7-8 games? I'm not sure. I think the good thing is the buys come at the right time, and hopefully they can get some of those players back to play the Eagles. And also, when you looked at the schedule at the start of the season and you saw on there the Eagles, the Chargers, Baltimore, it was like, we're going to have to be our best to have a chance against those teams. But 5 weeks in, Eagles don't look great. Chargers, I don't know. Baltimore, well, without Jackson, they look terrible on Sunday. So again, I think there's reasons to be positive again. And if we can get 60% of the O-line back, and if J.J. McCarthy is fit enough and mobile enough, you get him in there, you get him snaps, and we get to see what this kid can do and give him that opportunity. It's a difficult one. I was always kind of surprised that they spent so much money in free agency this year. When you're looking to start a rookie, surely you think, okay, season 1, I get it, it's in season 2, but season 1, you perhaps think about the next year where you can make a legitimate charge for a Lombardi if that guy's good enough. It's certainly concerning going forward that the cap space is going to be challenging going forward. I guess what we've got to hope for is that the last 2 drafts, we start getting major contributors out of them. If not, it will be challenging going into 26 and 27. Anyway, Joey, always appreciate what you do. Going to relax this weekend and watch a bit of football on the old TV. And I'll get back to you in the season as things progress. Skol, brothers and sisters. Take care, Joey. Have a good week.
And I thank you so much for that call in. Dave Martin, Mad Martin out of Northern Scotland. I'm really sorry. Yes, that was a... this call was for a few weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, and I'm really sorry. So I feel terrible about missing it. Hopefully that doesn't deter you from calling in as much as possible in the future, because I love hearing your voice on this show, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners do as well. In fact, all of the listeners love hearing from Dave Martin, Mad Martin. Yes, and I feel terrible for missing that. I need to be better about checking things. Mark Carlson also was checking in to see if it was the right email for a comment for the Freedom of Thought podcast as well. So my apologies. I'm just late to the party here. I need to be better about checking this. need to set the proper. So it's yes, it is PaladinoLive@yahoo.com. PaladinoLive@yahoo.com is the place to send the call-ins. And yes, great thoughts right there by Mad Martin as well. And again, thinking of seeing what the kid can do. It's a big thing. It's really important for the future. The present for the Minnesota Vikings does not look good. No. Like you were saying, the Chargers, I don't know. And yeah, that ended up being a really ugly football game, which of course you saw. And we'll be hearing more from Mad Martin about that one here going forward here on the Twitter account at Purple Mafia Show, at Purple Mafia Show. I do believe there's a little bit of interaction on the Facebook page this time, which is great as well. Yep, so we're seeing Mark Carlson there. I know Iowa. We'll probably open up there this time around. It's back in the day, there used to be tons and tons of comments on. There used to be tons and tons of comments on Facebook, and I usually go to Twitter first. Whereas now it's kind of the other way around. It's become more of a couple comments on Facebook and tons and more on Twitter. I won't say tons and tons, but a good number of comments on Twitter. Like that kind of picked up over the years. As the Facebook obviously went through some nonsense a couple of years ago, and I was able to recreate the page before this season, and even getting the YouTube going finally, which was basically what I was doing before I did podcasting, way back in 2007, when YouTube was still very new, and things were moving in the right direction. I quit making videos. I just went 100% to the podcast, and it turns out I never should have quit making videos. Just didn't need to put in all that editing into it when it just wasn't necessary. Adding all that extra graphic stuff. It's just, the advice from a lot of people are you don't need all that. It's too much. You're putting up too much effort, and spending hours editing something when you don't have to. Honestly, you're just kind of commenting a little bit on the game. So what's all the cute stuff for? It's not making the video necessarily super attractive. So yes, it's like immediate post-game thoughts, and as the YouTube gets more and more popular, hopefully it does. It grew a little bit the past week, a little teeny bit, but it's growing. And those of you that do check that out, I appreciate it. But yeah, Mad Martin, yes, that was awesome. Of course, awesome call-in. Great football mind, of course. And yes, the Steelers. There are more Steelers fans over there in Ireland, which is very interesting. But I suppose that's how it goes sometimes. Not everywhere you go, it's a bunch of Viking fans. So some teams have a bigger fan, or some areas have bigger. Or some teams have bigger fan bases in different areas. So it's interesting how all that works. Whereas in England, apparently it's more Minnesota Vikings than some other teams, particularly with the Browns. As like you said, they don't travel too well. Browns fans anyway, because they haven't been really ever been good for the most part. This new incarnation of the Browns anyway, because Baltimore, a lot of us that are old enough, the Baltimore Ravens are what the Browns used to be. So it's a decent franchise. Decent. Anyhow, heck, they won Super Bowls, didn't they? Way back in the day. Didn't they beat the Packers way back? Or no, they didn't win Super Bowls. They won championships pre-Super Bowl. They beat the Packers in a pre-Super Bowl game way back in the day. So let's get to the Facebook page now. Again, the link is in the show description. I'm not sure if I can ever change the URL. Because back in the day, I think all I needed was like 50 people following the page to be able to do it. I don't know. So where I can be back to like Purple Mafia Show or something else. Otherwise, the squiggly bunch of stuff link is in the show description, so you could get there. Otherwise, look up Purple Mafia Show, Minnesota Vikings Show in the search bar. I should be able to find it. Please join the page if you could. So commenting on the Eagles game, Mark Carlson a few days ago jumped in, of course, in between the last show. Mark Carlson getting back on Facebook. Mark from Iowa, Purple Mafia Hall of Famer, says, I missed the whole game. This is the Eagles out of town. Yep, that's probably why he wasn't commenting as much, but now kind of catching up with things. Out of town, out of state for a pretty awesome birthday party. That's cool. I wonder how that turned out. The outcome is what I expected, like the Vikings losing to the Eagles. Yep. And nothing like the upset the Vikings laid on the Eagles in Philadelphia when I was visiting family in Pennsylvania some years ago. Yeah, that was fun. Maybe 2018 or a couple years later. It could have been an upset. Yeah, the Vikings did have a chance, didn't they? Whereas the fast-moving and agile corners and tall defensive players, yeah, like, where are they? That's what he's saying there. Just some likes on the Vikings versus Eagles post-game thoughts. And that video did fairly well, and it brought in some new subscribers, which I really appreciated. This week, not so much yet. The numbers are pretty solid, but not the number of subscribers, like new subscribers. I think I only gained like one this week, whereas the week before I gained a few. That was nice. Nice little bundle. It's obviously still very, very fledgling, the YouTube page. Because back then it wasn't called Purple Mafia Show. It was just Paladino, or it was Paladin Joe or whatever. Anyhow, Mark on the Chargers game says, it's hard to find anything positive to say. I thought Wentz would make a big difference. I didn't think it would be in this fashion. And on top of that, it looks like the defense is getting run over, literally. Yeah, I think the defense is even a bigger problem than Carson Wentz. Yeah, that's how down I am on this defense. It stinks. It stinks. The defense stinks right now. I'm not happy with the Vikings defense at all, if you didn't notice. So, yeah, there's that for sure. But, yeah, great comment. Thank you, Mark Carlson. Really appreciate you. Heading over to, and yes, please do, send the, so yes, yeah, I did get the email, and I responded to you just recently now when I was getting Mad Martin's call here on the show. What was I saying? Yes, I did get the email from you, Mark, and that, that was the correct email, paladinolive@yahoo.com, if you wanted to comment on freedom of thought somehow. I don't know if it was a call-in or just like a regular email you were going to send for that show, but yes, I would love to hear from you from Freedom of Thought. That show could use a little love right now. It really could. Since it went back to a politics-only vibe, and then Mysterious Adventures became born out of that with, getting into the cryptoid type stuff, anything. Could be, obviously Genesis 6 Giants, Bigfoot, UFOs, fallen angels, Nephilim giants, all that kind of stuff. So like Genesis 6, that's Nephilim. So it's a really cool show, in my opinion. I think a lot of you would like it if you would like to give it a chance. I think you would. Some biblical history and such, paranormal conversation. It goes in a lot of different directions, but in a lot of similar directions as well, when you consider paranormal and all that other stuff as well. So check it out, and would love to hear from you if you'd like to be an actual guest on the show, or just like write a long email about your show, like a story you may have of any type of scary activity maybe, or interesting things that you've seen historically. That's what's for Mysterious Adventures anyway. Back to Purple Mafia Show, you're more than likely to call in like Mad Martin did as well, by picking up your smart device and opening up the free voice recording app and talking into that like a voicemail or a phone call, and then I will convert it into an MP3 file thanks to cloudconvert.com. Really appreciate them. Let's get moving. Mad Martin, wherefore art thou? Did I read all these? Okay, I read that one. Yeah, that was, I believe, on the previous show, right? I think. Going crazy. Yeah, Sunday. So 20th on, basically. Yep, so because 20th would be the Monday afterward. And that was, obviously, Purple Mafia was done. I just wanted to make sure. Yep, there he is. Mad Martin says, did a call in last week. Yep. Oh, Mad. Oh, Dave, I'm really sorry for missing that call. I am terribly sorry. Please don't let that deter you from calling in the future. As would love hearing from you. Got it up on this show at the very least. Dave says, anyway, for me, it's actually starting to look and to feel more like 2018. Yeah, where there's so much hype, so much build-up, money spent in the off-season that followed with mediocrity. Yeah, that's exactly right. I was saying, awesome, I'll get to that call-in ASAP. And I'm sorry that we're not responding to the rest of that, but I was kind of saving that part for the show, even though I could have commented there as well. But it's so true. What a disappointing disappointing season 2018 truly was. It was a huge bust in so many ways. And spending all that money on Kirk Cousins ended up being a whole lot of nothing. 2019 felt promising for a minute, but ultimately didn't last. Matt Martin says, who starts in LA? Yep, of course, that was Carson Wentz again, but was pretty beat up. Dave wanted to see Max Brosmer. I just see a little point in rolling with Carson. Yeah, I agree. Let's see what the rookie free agents got this season. It's now about finding a solution for the most important position. You hope ultimately it's J.J. McCarthy. There was a response. I was saying apparently it's Carson Wentz again. He says, oh joy. Yep, I feel you 1,000% there. Dave Martin continues saying Thursday morning, a long wait for tonight's game. Well, technically for us across the pond, it's early Friday morning. The Purple currently 0-7 on the. Yeah, it's not an interesting thing. Yep. The Purple currently 0-7 on the road in Thursday Night Football, and Wentz is 7-0 in Thursday Night Football. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, on the road. Yep, and it's weird. So the Vikings did win road games on Thursdays. People were kind of going off about that. Like, we've won some Thanksgiving games on the road, like Detroit years ago, Dallas back in 98. That was a big one. Remember the Randy Moss had 3 catches and ran for touchdowns on all 3 to kind of stick it to the Cowboys for passing up on him in the draft that year during that wonderful 15-1 season. Who could forget that? So the Vikings did win on Thursdays, just not Thursday night football. Because back then that was not Thursday night football. It is a different spectacle. It's during the day. It's technically during the day in Thanksgiving. So, yeah, it doesn't count as TNF. It's interesting. Yeah, we are offers on the road. It's pretty wild when you think about that. But Carson Wentz was perfect. Isn't that weird? Vikings stayed overs, and now Wentz gets his first loss. Sucks. Matt Martin says, yet again, officials screwing us. We should be 7 points up. Yeah, that was a BS call along the way as well. Yeah, I mean, extreme frustrations. Like, you can't believe what's happening in some of these games. Dave Martin continuing, saying, behind this O-line, Wentz is going to die tonight. That's not a threat. It's more of a statement of concern, and it sure was. Dave Martin continues, as brutal so far. Tomlin and Harbaugh are demonstrating to KOC how to effectively run the ball using jumbo heavy packages, a strategy that Flores is unable to stop and KOC is unwilling to replicate. Couldn't have said it better there. Like, the coaching here has not been adequate. It's not even been adequate this season. They've been disappointing. Dave Martin says 4 a.m. Well, that was a miserable watch. They've got 9 days to sort their shit out. Detroit must be salivating at the prospect, and I'm sure they are. I was saying, honest to God, I'm terribly sorry you had to watch this garbage. It's so sad. And yep, I am sorry. I am saying that with sincerity. I can only imagine the frustration. Dave Martin responds with, not your fault, brother. I chose to stay up, ignoring my better judgment that this would be a loss, but certainly not an embarrassment, which it's been. Don't know about you, but I have no idea where the hell they go. Yeah, right now, so far, it is kind of like that. It feels directionless, doesn't it? I like the way you said that. Don't know about you, but I've no idea where the hell they go. Yeah, it's true. Like, you worded that so perfectly. Oh, and yes, thank you, brother. Thank you for that. And, man, Mike McCarthy up there, huh? What is he watching, the Packers and the Steelers? Yeah, I suppose, huh? Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. Interesting stuff. Continuing, Dave Martin continuing, saying, one thing I didn't realize about this Thursday night game was the Chargers were home on the Sunday before. Yeah, it doesn't feel fair, does it? The NFL wants entertaining games, but how is it fair that one team is at a distinct disadvantage going on a short week, having to travel? Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. That does seem kind of mean. It is, yeah. It's pretty harsh. I don't blame you for the frustration on that one. And Martin continuing, saying, and how is it fair that the home team plays at home the Sunday before, which gives them a distinct advantage in preparation time, because 4 days doesn't give you a great deal of time to turn it around, and if you're traveling, you have consistently less time. Yeah, so it's just kind of like, just one of those things. Dave Martin continuing. Yep, it's definitely a Dave Martin lightning round, which I very much welcome here. He's like gold star, gold star, gold star, gold star. Oh, man, no Dave Hickey this week. It's like the Daves. Yep, the Daves. No Dave Hickey, no Gerald String, no Malcolm McSween. Come on, guys, you got to jump in. Dave's doing an awesome job, but he'd probably like a little company on here, besides just me and him. even though, hey, we can carry the show just fine, but we would love to hear from you because you guys can help carry the show even better. You know what I mean? And just saying, just saying. We would love to hear from you guys, just saying. Continuing. Dave continuing, saying, so I have to think you have to consider that as a factor in that appalling performance. Also, the NFL preaches about player safety Well, on a short NFL safety. Well, on a short week, these guys don't have enough time to be prepared for a Thursday night game. So again, more BS. And it certainly showed Thursday night. So the solution to this garbage: why not extend the season and the two teams playing on Thursday night get an additional bye before get an additional bye the Sunday before. Teams come out fresh, and hopefully you get a true perspective of the teams, rather than one being basically like worn out and stuff. Yeah, that is one of the reasons why the Vikings no showed. It was a tough beat, as they say in the business. Final tweet here of the day. Dave Martin says, "No, I'm not saying the result would have changed." Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, well, they probably would have lost, but maybe not as ugly. Result would have changed, but the purple would have had a considerably better chance. Yes, as opposed to what looked like a no-show. Such a well-run machine, and the NFL can't get the fundamentals right. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it is sad. It truly is sad indeed. So great thoughts, Dave Martin. Thank you. We got 1,000,000 gold stars for this one. Definitely carrying the show here, but obviously great here from Mark Carlson on Facebook, and hopefully further and further in the future. Mark Carlson, you're a legend. Dave Martin, you're a legend. Dave Hickey, oh yeah, I think he said something about like he wasn't able to watch the game also. Didn't I see a comment from Dave? Yes, of course, back on Facebook. I'm sorry, Dave. I am really sorry. Oh, and Tanae. I am sorry, guys. And Leland. So back to Facebook. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, totally embarrassing. They need to put Brosmer in there. Get him some snaps. He can't do any worse than Wentz. And yes, that's true. Tanae out of New Zealand. Tanae Brown says, this is embarrassing. Leland Alberson, also from Iowa, says, outplayed, outcoached. And you couldn't be more correct. Oh, that. So glad to hear from you guys. You're more than welcome to write more than that, but it's okay. You probably didn't have a whole lot to say. You're like, what? I have nothing to say. They sucked. It was kind of like that, right? So that's probably why a lot of you guys had pretty much one-liners in this one. So it is what it is. But, yep, so there was a variety of people. Just you guys didn't say a whole lot because, again, you didn't feel like saying a whole lot because you're depressed. Whereas Dave Martin probably was, again, you could go in either direction where you have a hell of a lot to say because there is a lot to say. Kind of like why this show's a little probably on the longer side. Like, what the hell's going on? And then the other side's like, they sucked. Hell with this. So it's you could literally go one way or another. Wrapping things up here. Well, I'm not a huge Halloween person. I'm not 1,000% against it necessarily. I kind of like the decorations to a point. I'm not big on the whole skeleton witch type stuff. More of the festive pumpkin-y type stuff, you could say, without the demonic images or like death with a scythe. I'm not a huge fan of that stuff. I do love the Castlevania games. They're fun, and it's trying to keep it as a video game rather than like realistic type stuff, if we can. But in a lot of ways, as we head into Halloween week and eventually into November 1st and 2nd, like next week, it's pretty much the early Christmas season already as we head into the official Thanksgiving season and the wonderful world of fall cleanups. This most likely 99% chance is my final season doing fall cleanups, though then again I may end up, even though like retiring from the lawn service, it might be more of a semi-retirement where I help from time to time, particularly in the fall cleanup season where you might be desperate for help. So we'll see how this all turns out. It's going to be interesting. So, but at the end of the day, happy Halloween in a fun, innocent way, we'll say. We'll say it that way. I'm not going to get on my soapbox and tell you like what to do. It is what it is. Like, if you want to go outside, have a fire, enjoy yourself on Halloween night, more power to you. Enjoy it. Watch the movie Halloween, Friday the 13th, whatever you like to watch, the Dracula Hammer horror films. More power to you. I don't mind those kind of movies necessarily. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not. It's not something I'm. Gonna go out of my way to watch either. So look at it that way. With that said, though, gotta love the pumpkin beers out there. There's some wonderful stuff. So there's always fun with that. Tasting some wonderful autumn beers, and then eventually into the Christmas/holiday type beers, which I think are the best of the entire year. That's what's especially fun about Halloween week and going into Thanksgiving season is the best, probably the best seasonal coffees that come out, like the Thanksgiving blend from Starbucks. and the Christmas beers like what is it, Holiday Blend from Pete's, and then of course just wonderful autumn beers, but then ultimately the even best of them all, Christmas type beers like Sierra Nevada Celebration. Unfreaking believable. With that said, gonna step away for now. Come back for a nooner. It's been about 20 years since we had a nooner here with the Vikings. Not literally, I'm just messing around. But finally, a noon game again. Oh my God, we've had one this year, haven't we? I think we've had one, or was it two? Maybe the Eagles game was a nooner. I'm blanking now. I think it was. But it's about bleeping time we have another nooner game. And there will be a number of them the rest of the season, which is great. With that said, enjoy your noon football. Skull Vikings, let's see if we can survive. And hopefully we get to see some encouraging signs out of J.J. McCarthy coming up here.